This vlog is a little bit different to our normal vlogs. It does show us going down the Wigan Flight, and as you may have seen from our previous vlog, this flight has been closed for a number of weeks. However, the story behind this particular stoppage is a little more involved than just the Canal and River Trust fixing a broken lock. After spending a few days with subscribers at Adlington, we made our way to Hay Hall, the lovely location you can see here, before making our way to the top of the flight, deciding to go down on Sunday the 26th of May, the bank holiday weekend. Our friends on Hakuna Matata were going down on the Saturday with about 6 other boats. They shared the locks with a couple. The guy Dave was one of the 3 experienced volunteer lock keepers on the flight, but during the weekend he was on holiday with his own boat. When they arrived at the next to last lock on the flight, the lock was empty and the tailgates partially open. An attempt to close the gates was made, but there appeared to be a submerged obstruction between the gates. As is normal practice, the tailgates were opened and closed a couple of times to see if the obstruction would clear, creating a current through the lock to attempt to flush out the obstruction. After this, the tailgate closed, but the volume of leakage through the tail was greater than the inflow, with all head paddles up. As you would expect, the pound above the lock was dropping and the waiting boats began to ground. Although the gates were installed just over a year ago, this lock consistently was draining overnight, indicating tail end leakage. Unbeknown to those present, lock 84 was failing due to rotting timbers in the base of the lock, which was allowing water to flow under the concrete arrowhead that the gates rest upon when closed. This was explained in our earlier vlog, Disaster on the Wigan Flight. I'll put a link down below and on screen. The tailgates on Lock 84 are operated using cranks with a rack and pinion mechanism. These do require a high degree of force to operate them. It was decided to try and have one more attempt to try flushing the lock, using a quarter turn of the crank and flushing with both ground paddlers open. Unfortunately, the crank moved rapidly and pushed Dave backwards towards a step recess and over into the gate and subsequently down into the empty lock. He sustained 2 broken ribs and damage to his ear which required over 20 stitches. Miraculously, he was able to climb out of the lock after being past the lifebelt. A passing cyclist called the emergency services and the scene was attended by fire crews, ambulance and the police. The 3 volunteers involved were asked to attend sequential individual meetings with the local operations manager of Canal and River Trust. Allegedly there were various meetings that went on. We don't have all the information here, but some of it you can read on the Wigan Flight Crew's Facebook page. The upshot of all of this was that the 3 volunteers were summarily sacked. The reasons behind the sackings are not for this particular vlog, although we did ask Canal and River Trust to send in a statement to put their side of the story forward. Whilst we're editing this vlog in late September, we've received no information or no statement from Canal and River Trust. What we and everybody else knows is that the entire flight was closed for about 6 weeks. We decided then to go back to Adlington and spend some time there, and created the vlog that you may have seen a couple of weeks ago. Eventually though, we made our way back to the top of the flight, having heard that it may be open in a few days. Nobody really knew what happened to the 3 volunteer lock keepers during the 6 weeks the flight was closed. We were one of the first boats to go down after it had been reopened. Good morning everybody.
Morning.
Or afternoon or evening, wherever it is in your part of the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's morning for us because it's very early. If you've seen the previous vlogs, you will know that the Wigan Flight has been closed for an awful long time, 6 weeks, more or less. Today, it's opening. Oh my goodness. And you might be able to hear an engine. That's our neighbours in front who are just about to go down. So we'll be moving up as well. There's been a bit of a queue here. We worked out there's about 25 boats wanting to go down at various times. Obviously not everybody wants to go down right on opening day. I mean, it would be a bit stupid to do that anyway. But there's at least half a dozen boats here waiting to go down. Right, how are you feeling then, Jan, about going down the 23 locks? There's 21 in the flight going down, then we turn right at the bottom and there's 2 more. What do you reckon?
My nerves are shot. Look. Oh, I get myself into such a state. But we've just waited so long. But let's hope. We're just going to... Don't know whether there's any lockies on.
No.
hopefully they might see one or two, but between the boats, there's about 6 or 7 of us here. We have talked, and we're going to try and leave 2 locks before somebody else goes down, because we've no idea how many are coming up, and we don't want to take all the water from here, because there is a chance of flooding the lock in front. So we're just going to try and take it easy and try and manage it amongst ourselves without anything.
A few weeks ago, we did suggest to Canal and River Trust maybe there should be a booking system, not so that there's a hierarchy of who goes down first and whatever, more to do with conserving and looking after the water. If you get too much flow of water coming down here and not enough going back up, then you're going to flood locks, you're going to flood the tow path, it's going to just erode, and then you've got even more problems, and then the flight will be closed yet again. So it was more to do with that. Unfortunately, Canal and River Trust decided themselves that no, we'll let the boaters go for it. Don't take any notice of what we have to suggest. Poo-pooed it completely and just said, no, the locks will be open at 9 o'clock. Last one down, 12, locks closed and locked at 5 o'clock. Yeah, and that's it. So we're basically organising it amongst ourselves, those that are here. And we know that there are a few back at Burnley and this side
Adlington.
Adlington and
Chorley.
Yeah, and all that sort of places. But they're not in so much as a rush to get down. They've not got bookings to go into Liverpool, for instance, so they can take it a little bit easier. Obviously, as you know, we're going down to Liverpool.
Oh,
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
It's only taken us 12 months.
Oh,
It'll have been 13 months, actually, since we first muted the idea and had it planned. But there we go.
And poor old Amy Jo, Life on Board Amy Jo, they are hovering around the bottom, and they had gone to get diesel, so we were hoping they were going to help us down the flight, but they're a little bit away. But I think they're up and about, so they might just get there as soon as possible. So thank you very much, Chris and Steve.
And Smudge.
Oh yes, Smudge.
And we'll see you soon. And we'll see you in a second. We start to go down the flight. First lock of the day, Jan.
Tony, these are bigger. These locks are longer.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Thank you.
You've got more to do. You'll meet Pete halfway down.
This would prove to be incorrect, because little did we and many others know that Peter Baxter, and the other 2 volunteer lockkeepers had been sacked. And in protest, the members of the Wigan flight crew, who give their time freely to assist boaters, walked out in solidarity. On the first day of reopening, and to date, there have been no volunteer lockkeepers on the flight that we know of. And the knowledgeable and helpful volunteers have been told to stay away. I'm going to stay here under this bridge for the time being while Jan goes and prepares the next lock. The advice is not to get too far ahead of the crew in front. So there's 2 boats that have gone down in front of us. So we're going to keep sort of like 2 locks behind, so we're not flooding their lock with our water effectively. That's the plan. Lovely little pub that, a Kirkless Hall Hotel. Went in there for a nice curry last night. Hey, the sun's out. Just call me Mr. Cooled. It's all going very well at the moment. Every likelihood is we should do this on time. We're just taking it nice and easy though, not speeding up, and mindful of the fact that there are boats in front of us, and also we are likely to meet some boats coming up. Everything was going well. We'd got into a really good routine. With a 60-foot boat, I was going in diagonally. Then I'd reverse as much as possible, bearing in mind there was now an exposed sill behind me. Jan would open the opposite gate and I'd go out. This was all fine and dandy until we reached lock 74, when things didn't go to plan. And it got a little bit scary. As the boat descended the lock, it was clear there was a lot of water coming in from the gates behind. I asked Jan to check if the paddle was still open.
I can't shut it!
Jan also had a problem opening the gate. The force of the water from behind was causing all sorts of problems. Every time I tried to reverse, the force of the water would push me forward. The only way of trying to resolve the situation was to throw Jan the centre line and get her to pull me over. Not easy with an 18-ton boat to try and pull her across. And with the force of water trying to push the boat forward.
I pulled you over!
In the meantime, a fellow boater came to try and close the paddle behind us, without any success. In one final attempt, I used the full power of the engine to go as far back as I dared, as the water was already flooding the engine bay. Lock 74 is the next one that's going to go, because that gate paddle is seriously leaking. There was so much power coming out of there that I had to put the engine in on full power to be able to move anywhere And as you saw, Jan took the centre line just to pull me over, otherwise I'd have never got out. And now 75, apparently you can only go in and use the left port side gates. If you use the starboard side gate and you open it, it will stay open and you won't be able to close it. See, why not close the whole flight for at least 6 to 8 months and get everything sorted, and then open it all when it's all working properly? Okay, clear. We're coming up to the infamous lock 84. This is the one that had the problem, and this is one that kept us waiting for 6 weeks in total. And we're about to go down it. I did do a special vlog about it, a one-off. Basically having a chat to the guys who did all the work, what was involved, etc, etc. Have a look at that. I'll put that up here, or maybe I'll put it up there. Who knows? But it'll be there somewhere. Go and have a look.
As you can see in the background, we had to get a large digger and dump truck in the bottom of the canal, which took 145 tonne of stone and 15 tonne of clay. At the moment, the team are working so hard just to remove the ramp and get the canal open. It's taken just over 3 weeks. The first week was planning how to get the plant in and planning how to do the job safely.
This is it, 85, block 85, last one, before we join the main Leeds-Liverpool canal. The Lee branch goes off to the left, and the Liverpool branch, if there is such a thing, or the continuation of the Leeds-Liverpool canal, goes off to the right. There's 2 more locks. I think we're going to have to go down those. And waiting for us, fingers crossed, Steve, Chris and Smudge. And maybe a glass of something or other. Who knows? I don't care. I'd normally say cup of tea, but to be honest, at the moment, after 4 hours, anything will do. And Jan is going to nod off tonight, definitely.
Left side, yeah?
It got a little bit wet when we finally caught up with Chris and Steve. Such a relief to see them again after all this time. Thanks for being there, you guys.
What do you want to do? Stop about there where the... Yeah.
We decided after such an eventful day that we'd moor up here for a couple of days.
Just here.
I'm filthy. Oh, I say.
Oh, hang on, you got brambles there.
Well, that was an epic couple of hours, and thanks for watching.
Thank you to our supporters on Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee and channel members. If you want to join them, there's details down below in the video description. In the meantime, don't forget to give us a thumbs up for a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, it's totally free to do so. And then when you have subscribed, press the bell icon.
Ding!
Thank you, Jan, and YouTube will let you know next time we upload a vlog. In the meantime, stay safe everybody. Happy cruising. Bye.